80% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
First up, we need two definitions for this video.
A spoiler is a piece of information about any fictional story that reveals an important plot point, relayed unbidden to someone who isn't familiar with that story. To fetishize is to have an excessive or irrational commitment to something. That is, the recluse fetishizes his solitude.
So the internet is a great and wonderful thing that allows us to share so many stories in unlimited different ways. In talking about all those stories with each other though, you're going to come across people who have seen stories that you haven't. Sometimes, when they're talking about those stories, you might find out something about that story that you didn't want to know, and when that happens, we call it a spoiler. Now, it's fine to not like spoilers, but let me just say that lately things have gotten crazy. The internet has made things crazy. It's at the point now where people are starting to treat any tiny little tidbit of information about a story as a massive, completely story-ruining spoiler. For example, a little while ago I saw somebody post a thread about Game of Thrones. In it they mentioned that Sir Pounce was their favourite part of that episode. Underneath that there were dozens, actually dozens of responses claiming that knowing Sir Pounce was in that episode had ruined it for them because they wouldn't be surprised by his appearance now. Sir Pounce is a cat, and I'm sure I don't need to explain to you sophisticated watchers that he is not an integral part of the story. Dear Rebels, that is craziness. Like, hinging your enjoyment of an episode of Game of Thrones on whether or not you know there's going to be a cat in it, that is like actually mentally unstable. So what the internet has done is allowed us to fetishize spoilers. That is, to make an irrational commitment to not knowing anything about a story before going into it. People have convinced themselves that not knowing anything that happens is the only way to make a story interesting. And that's just not true. Guys, stories are more than just the series of surprises they can offer to you. They're supposed to be a roller coaster ride of emotions and feelings and events and mistakes and empathy. They're art, okay? And art is meant to be experienced. It's not supposed to be like accounting. Stories are about two things. They're about the end point, sure, but they're also about the journey to make it there. If complete uncertainty of the outcome is all that really interests you, can I suggest you become one of those people who watches sports?